quarterback is. So I'm going to play around with Kyler Murray as the
Mm-hmm.
Vikings quarterback. So
Okay.
that's what I've been playing.
Hey.
Ken, what games have you been playing? I remember last time we were talking, you were playing GTA, right?
Yeah, I was playing GTA 4 and Destiny. So I'm still playing those. GTA 4, man, is a gem. That's all I could say. Like, it's so good it's so great how that game still plays. It feels like I'm playing like a game today with how much stuff and just catching the little details and all the dynamic moments. It's getting me more excited for GTA 6. And then Destiny 2, I'm about to be no, I finished the last DLC. So I finished all the DLCs last week, and now I'm gonna move on to the raids, which is my favorite part for Destiny. And yeah, I gotta say they Bungie really did their thing with Destiny. I'm just so surprised they didn't have anything to follow up with it. But damn, yeah, Destiny is such a great game, man. Like the first person combat with it, the abilities. They do such a good job with going from first person to third person. It's such a good game, man.
Mm. It's a shame people didn't feel that way a lot earlier on because listen, I will not be surprised if they shut down. To be honest,
yeah.
Ushers, tell us, please. I can't. We'll go back to GTA because I do have a true or false question for that. But Ushers, tell us, what game have you been playing?
So I downloaded the Halo campaign Evolved. I think that's probably what I played the most last weekend, and I'm still playing the Dispatch. I'm really enjoying that. I'm taking my time with it, but I don't know. Like it's actually a little bit more trickier than I thought it would be. But story-wise, very good.
Tricky. Which baddies do I pick? Oh my god, decisions.
No, it's not even that. It's the gameplay loop that they have with trying to finish multiple missions in a given time. Like it's not unforgiving. It's just it's a little bit trickier than I think a lot of people assume.
Okay.
Aside from that, going back to Halo Combat Campaign Evolved, look, it's alright. It's that meme. It's alright. Like look,
yo,
the amount of time I've played, like when you, I'll say this right. Once you get into it, it kind of like all comes back to you, and you understand why you enjoyed or love that game. And it does that thing with that fucks with your memory, where you'd actually be shocked if you went back and like played, let's say, the anniversary edition, the OG version of the anniversary edition with those Xbox One graphics. Your mind tricks you to thinking that the graphics looked that good or as good as you're playing them on Unreal Engine 5.
Mm-hmm.
I tried that and I was like, oh, fuck, it's a hell of a mind fuck. So they did a great job in sort of like updating it. But it's not exceptional. That's the thing, though. Like, there's nothing exceptional about it. And I think
so.
that's
Would
why
you say, for example, that we've seen remakes of Resident Evil, we've seen remakes of Dead Space, we've seen remakes of multiple different games. Do you think that Xbox stepped up? Sorry, not Xbox. Halo Studios stepped up in making a competent remake that could kind of be up there with those other guys?
I don't know, dude. Like, I would compare it more to like The Last of Us remakes of like more recent games, and I just don't think it hits in the same way. It doesn't have, unless if you're new to it, maybe it gives you that awe. But if you're someone that's played it before, there's nothing about it that blew me away. Like,
let me flip it then, and then we'll get to the questions. Do you think this title was made because it was supposed to be just for the multi-platform guys, and then now that they're going back towards being exclusive, it makes no sense?
That's a tricky question. Like, both are right? I think they made the game with like, let's get PlayStation players onto this. Spoiler alert: PlayStation players don't give a fuck about Xbox IPs. But this is something that I think fans would appreciate. But again, it's not been that long ago, dude. Like, it's the same thing with Gears Reloaded. great game, but it's still the same thing. Like you're not getting anything that's gonna blow your mind away. Um,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Like, and the problem with those games is that, like, unlike what Sony, when they do like remakes, their games are based around stories. So if they redo cinematics and the graphics look better, that matters. Doesn't matter much if your game is based around, the same sort of like, what do they call it? The meat and potatoes of Xbox 360 games. Those games were all based around gameplay and meat and potatoes, less about cinematics.
Okay. All right, fair enough. I've seen some other things on Halo. A few people have played it, they enjoy it. Some people think it's not that great, and I know the sales weren't particularly supposed to be hot. And I think this guy, Reese, he gave an analysis on why like that. And his main takeaway was that it's quite similar enough to the PC version, and not everyone is crazy about Halo anymore. I think out of all the IPs that Xbox has that they really need to step up and fix or rejuvenate, I do think Halo is one um, that is going to be a bit problematic. To be honest, I don't really know if any PlayStation person or Nintendo person is looking at Halo as one of those kind of games. They're like, oh yeah, I want to play. I want to buy an Xbox to play that game. Even as good as everyone said Halo Infinite was, people in my group were just not interested. Like, yeah, we don't care if it's good. Don't like the way it looks. It's not cinematic. It's just a shooting game. Like, who cares? So I do think they have a lot of work to do with that. One thing I will say though is take it off Halo Studios' hands. Like, you have a better chance of success if you give it to another developer. But listen, Raichi, welcome. And let's get straight into the questions. And as you guys can see on the screen, we have Control Resonant, which is Remedy's upcoming title. Remedy has stated that Control Resonant has over 1.5 million wish lists across all platforms and is tracking ahead in comparable to the other games. And Remedy has also stated that they want it to be one of their must-have day one purchases. Now, one of the things that I was thinking about when I saw this game was, I think they're trying to make money now. Because when I look at, Alan Wake 2, I thought it looked good. However, when I see Control Resonant, I see them leaning onto maybe typical tropes. It's very combat focused. It's your typical male protagonist. You got the female on your earpiece telling you what to do, such as like a sidekick, and there could be a potential romance option there. There's situations where you can make decisions for yourself, so there's a bit of RPG-ness to it. There's cool elements, like look at this guy, look at the hammer, like that's sort of neat, like he just looks so badass, right? And I guess my question to you guys is, are we gonna see more developers start to look towards, let me say, appealing towards the audience to reach more sales and to make sure that they're financially viable? Todd, I'll go to you first.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, when you say financially viable, it's really hard to tell what that means anymore in regards to AAA games. Is it play it safe, limit changes, and keep with the tried and true, or is it really going and doing something so different where you stand out, but it potentially is a risk? If we compare what's the games that are really popping right now, not on console but on PC, those are those weird little games that just do gangbusters. Mech to Chameleon has now sold 20 million copies on Steam, and that game's only been out 2 months. It's not expensive. It's on, it's one of those, I would say, like friend slop. So I don't know. Playing it safe often at times it gets stale, and people say, "Oh yeah, I played that before." Or it's more of the same. So I am curious. I mean, we saw Assassin's Creed where they pivoted from their formula and they went with the was it Origins, and they found great success with doing something significantly different, doing more of a open world RPG, going to that that different style. But now it's like, is that stale again? Because they went back to more of a traditional game. So I don't know. It's going to be hard. I mean, Control. The first I would say it is going to be interesting to see how this does versus Alan Wake 2, because Alan Wake 2 was exclusive to the Epic Game Store. And that has such a smaller user base unless you're there for Fortnite. People on PC are kind of snobs and they only want to get their PC games on Steam. And because of that, a lot of people just ignored the game. And so I think that's what was one of the critical issues with that game and why it didn't do well commercially, but critically it was great. So yeah, I do worry. But to your point, I don't want to see more remakes, remasters, because I think it's limited return on investment. So I guess we'll see, what companies can do. But I one of the things I want to talk about was the Halo and Gears element, and where they've tried to get games in front of PlayStation with Gears Reloaded and now Halo Campaign Evolved. I mean, essentially, it's kind of said, yeah, those are old games. They peaked in the 360 era, and we're kind of done with those. So I do feel like Xbox, their most successful games now they're going to appeal to more people are Forza, maybe Fable, games that haven't been done to death. So I'll see if those are the ones that emerge. Maybe Clockwork Revolution will be that game that'll be like, that's the exclusive that nails it because it's fresh, it's hot, it's doing something new, and wow, I get FOMO for that game because it's really shown me something new that I can't get elsewhere.
There's a lot that I agree, because it is like, I think it's a good point you made about like, okay, what do we do? Do we just kind of rest on what has worked, because that is quite dangerous? And and Richie kind of says the same thing, which is playing it safe is the biggest risk ever. All risk-free games are bad. Now, what I would say here is this, and I think I have a feeling Oshas might already just agree to this because he's very about the consumer. Right now for Xbox, I think what they need to do is be in a position where they go back to what's tried and true to kind of get back to profitability. Then you can start expanding hours and experimenting a little bit more. But Kenwell, let's go to you. What are your thoughts on Control Resonance? Is this like a sign? Because Remedy is a studio that's quite niche, and they have made action games in the past, and they've done well, but they've never really broken crazy records. They've never been the studio that's been like in crazy profitability. But when I see Control Resonance, I see a studio that's kind of looked back at their games and said, we need to appeal more to the action casual audience. So let's get this guy in the game. Let's get this, this woman talking to him in a kind of similar to Metal Gear Solid, Splinter Cell, Tom Clancy like fashion. Let's give you the ability to run up walls and do some Inception cool shit. Let's give you a hammer. Let's make this an action adventure game in a way we've never done it before. And I'm thinking, are we going to start seeing these developers now start to lean more into what is the audience looking for, as opposed to what do we want to make?
So I do think they're going to lean more into what do the audience want. But I think Control and Remedy is a little different. Control 2 was in development like in the middle. Like they were, of course, working on it when Alan Wake 2 was coming out. So I don't think it was like, let's pivot into something more commercial. It could be, but I feel like they were already trying to do that with Operation Firebreak, when they did their live service attempt. So I feel like that was their first time where they're like, all right, we need to start doing something that's commercial. But Firebreak was ass. That was a terrible game. So yeah, I think they learned the lesson. But I do think that more game developers are going to go back to the male-centric protagonists, maybe even the most likely like the white bearded guy in his 30s. They're gonna go back to that. I could definitely see that. I'm just kind of looking at how movies are moving ever since like to me it feels like ever since Trump was elected, it's went back to the way of we're gonna have pretty much an all-white cast, white male protagonists. I do think they're going to go back to that, just appealing to what the audience actually really wants. I always felt it was a little off of pushing that, which again, I don't mind, but you got to push it to the right audience. And sometimes when you're doing that, like with God of War Laufey, it kind of just doesn't hit well because it's, to me, I just don't think that many girl gamers are playing that kind of game.
Yeah, for a take. Ushers, real quick, please tell us what are your thoughts on this apparent shift from Remedy towards a more, let's say, audio centric, casual like action adventure game as opposed to something that's a little bit more on the niche side of things.
Oh, your mic's muted.
Oh, your mic, you're muted, bro.
Sorry, I'm still just trying to tweak my setup here. So are you asking about like the new game?
Well, it's more
like,
about the industry. Do you see a shift in the industry now towards making games that are more commercially viable, or let's say titles that are more likely to resonate with the oh, did you see what I did there? Control resonance.
Hey.
Resonate with the audience.
So again, I think the whole sentiment, in my opinion, is loaded because look, I'm a huge. I play most games. If they give me an option to play a female protagonist, I will play a female protagonist. I prefer it, and you know this. Whether it's and that's thanks to Mass Effect and BioWare RPGs generally because they write their female characters so well. So nobody gives we were so tired. Go back to the 360. We're also fucking over the fucking Marcus Phoenix archetype, the Marine, with the one black friend. Dude, fuck. It's so corny and it's so cheesy. We got over that, and then the problem with the industry is that they decided to overcorrect. Now every single fucking protagonist is a female with red hair or is black, but is not the conventional sort of protagonist you used to expect. I don't think either extreme is good, right? I loved whatchamacallit. I'm just trying to think of the most. I loved Stellar Blade and the fact that you had a very Japanese or Eastern or Asian centric female character. I love that. I loved Wu Chang, though it was awesome. But I also loved Doom, right? I just think let's not go back. The problem with this stuff is that people always companies always take the wrong message away. We don't want less non-white male lead characters. We want more interesting characters regardless of their race, gender, sex, or whatever. Make cool character, people will show up. And there's so many examples in gaming. Lara Croft proved this back in the 90s when people didn't think that a hot female character could be a protagonist in a game that is successful. Samus proved this in the 1980s when you found out that she was a female character and then people fell in love with her because of that. People just don't like lame characters. And unfortunately, developers are going to say people don't like female characters. Same with movies. I'm seeing now Spider-Man's super successful. Shitty female-led movies or superhero movies are failing, but people are taking away the wrong thing. It's not that we want less female characters. We want cool female characters like the Wonder Woman, the first movie. We just don't want Supergirl. I don't know if that answers your question. I don't want.
You know what? It kind of does. Because it's so funny because I was like, oh, they're changing the gameplay. You guys are they're taking their genders. They're changing. And I was like, oh man, that just switched up real quick. I think I get what overall that you're trying to say because I grew up on Splinter Cell. Sam Fisher. Some of you guys grew up on, Snake from Metal Gear Solid.
Yep.
And you grew up on all these different icons. And then, obviously we grew up on Lara Croft as well. We grew up on Mario. And I think what you're trying to say here is that at some point they started to, I don't even think it's about even a gender or sex thing per se, or even a race thing. They started to focus more on characters that just weren't as appealing or as interesting. And I think maybe they thought that the interesting part about the character is the switch to the gender or the race or the culture.
Correct.
And it's like that's just not enough.
Yeah.
You go back to just making interesting characters, and whatever, you know, wherever they're from, whatever background they're from, we will love them for what it is. And also make the gameplay good. You know, I think so. I think that's what you guys are trying to say.
Yeah.
And if that's,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the take. I would agree with that. For sure.
Yeah, I was thinking something that I think about things that have stood out that have really defied conventions lately. Sinners, that film, amazing, great, just collaboration, great music, so many cool things. I mean, it's essentially a vampire story with great music, which is kind of crazy, but it's got a lot of cool, unique themes. That movie is like the #1 movie, and it was just a surprise, new IP, everything like that. So, you know, those things can emerge. Like, I think of, like, even just this year, the movies that are the biggest are coming from these young creators that are just doing something different, like Backrooms. You know, this guy, YouTube creator, I think he was 20 years old, then Obsession. Those two movies have outdone huge blockbusters like the Minions this year because of telling unique stories, unique voices, reaching out to a younger audience in different ways where it's not just old guys. But I will say with Control, that sold 6 million copies.
Yeah.
Well, Alan Wake 2 sold 3 million. So that's so even though we think about it as, and people love the character of Jesse Fadden, what that character did, the X-Files nature of this business, and the reason they pivoted this is her brother, and essentially she is running the Federal Bureau of Control. So now he's having his own path. So I like how they're universe building, and they're not like going to be like, we're going to have 18 games with Jesse as the lead. We're going to basically build out this universe, different characters, and I think that's where you can really add depth to a series, just like when Halo. What do they do? 3 games. We're all about Chief and that, and then what do we got? ODST and then Halo Reach, telling different stories in that universe, and that's when Halo was at its peak. But then going back to, that's why I worry about Gears E-Day. It looks great and all, but we're going back to the same old characters that only the same old Gears fans love, and then it's like, what are you doing to bring in new fans? You're only making the old people happy, and it's because it's like, well, those of us who really like the new, Gears 4 and 5, and we're left hanging like, so what are you doing?
And that's
so
interesting because if the cost of development keeps increasing and you're making the old people happy, you're never going to be able to be in a sustainable situation, because obviously if you're going to like increase the cost, you got to bring in all these new people. But no, I think we're all kind of on the same page there. Raichi says 6 million copies a copy. I don't think he wants to believe that Control actually sold that much. What else we got here? Sorry, Raichi says, so that's me. Raichi says, well, by the end of the month, we are getting another female protagonist from a franchise who did female rights. A Plague Tale 3. That is correct. That is a game.
A side character, right? Not the main character, so they're doing something different, changed in the game style up. So that's what I like to see. Franchises that aren't afraid to take risks and
expand
chances. Yeah,
for sure. Guys, let's move on to the next question. So this one is going to be about the Steam machine, right? So current third-party estimates put the Steam machine at roughly 12,000 to 15,000 units per week during its early sales period. If that pace continued, that would mean it would sell around 13,000 a week, 58,000 a month, and 700,000 a year. So roughly 1 million units in 19 months. Whereas the Steam Deck did that in 7.5 months. So that's obviously nearly triple. Now, the question is this due to the chip shortage in the sense that, like, Valve doesn't have enough to make? Because one of the things one of the things Valve actually said is that we're limited by memory capacity for sure. And apparently there were some, out of stock, storefronts. So the question, I'll just go to you first. Is the Steam Deck a failure or not?
So the Steam Deck or Steam Machine?
Oh, sorry, my bad. The Steam Machine. Based on the estimates right now that we have, third-party estimates of 1 million units in 19 months. And the Steam Deck did that in 7.5 months. Is the Steam Deck seen as a failure? So that's the first question. And number two, would these numbers be much higher but the problem is there isn't enough stock available.
Wait. Is the numbers saying that like the Steam Deck will reach 1 million? Sorry, the Steam machine will reach 1 million faster.
No. It's saying it's saying that it's going to take 19 months for the Steam machine to reach 1 million based on the current trajectory.
Yeah, so like I mean, if you're being realistic, you just look at like it's a number of factors. Of course, we have to factor in that everyone is going to struggle with sales because of like the component prices. The only people that are going to get away with this and are going to sell hand over fist is probably Nintendo. But I think the Steam machine is it's indicative of what's to come. Had the pricing been better, had it been priced, let's say, more competitively to consoles, we would be talking probably a different story right now. So I think it's indicative of the fact that we are in a very weird space right now when it comes to gaming hardware in general. And unfortunately, the Steam machine launched right in the midst of this. But at the same time, I think what is going to be hard for us to now, have an honest view of is whether it could have disrupted the industry had we not been in this current situation, had everybody been priced competitively. I don't think they'd be in this situation. But I don't think it would be drastically different either, because the biggest problem with that machine is that it's way underpowered for what they were asking for it. Even under favorable conditions, they probably would have been asking $899 or $799, which is still ridiculous. Considering that a PlayStation 5 probably runs those games better, and an Xbox Series will run those games better. So I think it has been it would have failed or it would have achieved similar success, regardless of the financial situation we're in. It's just not viable enough. It's not a viable enough reason for me as a person who owns a PC to get it. And it also is not a viable enough reason for me who owns a console to move from my console to a Steam or get a Steam machine. Pricing is just off. It needs to be affordable for what it is.
Okay. No, I get you. Strong agreement there as well. I do think nothing would have really changed, to be honest. Yeah, they would have sold more for sure, but I don't think it would have nailed it. It wouldn't have concerned Sony or Xbox. And to be honest, and I'll go to you next, Ken. Ken. But the chip shortage has materially affected Valve way more and Xbox way more. If you're Sony, you don't like the chip shortage, but the truth is you're like, no, but it's killing them. Like, it's hurting us, but it's killing those guys instead. So I do think Sony might be looking at this and thinking to themselves like, yo, this ain't it sucks, but this ain't as bad as as we all think. But Ken, thoughts? Is the Steam machine? Do you think Valve looks at the Steam machine as some type of failure, and do you think it's failed to kind of grab the users that Valve wanted it to, or do you think they're happy enough with this idea of like the Steam machine might just sell 1 million units within 19 months, as opposed to what the Steam Deck did, which was it did that in 7.5 months?
Yeah, I definitely feel like they got to walk away with being disappointed, because again, a lot of people don't really understand what the Steam machine is. It's just a mini PC. And again, what the Steam Deck and the Steam machine, the purpose is to show that they want to showcase Steam OS. They want to put Steam OS in more eyes, and taking that like line of thinking, them not being able to sell that many Steam machine, then they gotta feel disappointed, because that's the point of it. They didn't really care about selling the hardware. They're more focused on putting Steam OS in front of more people. And I feel like with the Steam Deck, I remember when the Steam Deck came out and how many people were talking about how well Steam OS is and how well the UI is and the performance of the Steam Deck. I don't really hear a lot of that about this. This feels like a fart. And by the end of the year, I'm going to forget that the Steam machine came out.
Yeah, no, I feel like it came and went. There was so much talk about it. And I honestly, I put that talk primarily towards console players online, PlayStation and Xbox fans, and also anti-Xbox fans talking about it and hyping it up to something it wasn't really meant to be.
Yeah.
And I always kind of said to myself, like, none of these people are users. I like these people who are praising this device. You ain't gonna buy this device. This thing's weaker than the PS5. Like, what are you like? What are we talking about exactly here? You're not gonna go out and buy a device that is weaker than your home console, really. But Todd, thoughts as well. Do you think Valve is happy with the Steam sales so far, given the circumstances, or that's completely irrelevant and they actually think this was a bit of a flop?
I think when it comes to Valve, I think they look at the Steam Deck and the Steam machine as, it's a part of their business that can allow them to get more sales within a user group that is probably niche. I don't think they ever reveal themselves as a huge competitor to Sony, PlayStation, or whatever, because their core business is the PC you already own. And that is already something where they're set. So I think it, once again, just gives them an example of the mega Steam fans, the Valve fans. Here's something for you if you want it. And ideally, it would have been cheap. Like the Steam Deck was $400. I think people forgot that. They priced it low to get more people in to show, hey, we can make a platform where our games will play great, it'll be great, but also it allows us another place to sell you games. So in a lot of ways, I think they are disappointed only because I think if things had gone according to plan and the Steam machine came out where it probably would have price-wise in 2022, probably at that 500, probably $700 and below. Now it's not possible. So I think in this way, they just are accepting it's like, this is reality. We're not going to sell as much, but I don't think they're selling the hardware loss. So it's not like they're accepting that huge loss. Plus, whatever they sell is just more people in their ecosystem. So I think they're okay with this. They are such newbies in the world of hardware making with, the Steam controller, Steam Deck, and then Steam Machine. Now, I think what will make them more disappointed is if they can't get the Steam Machine 2 out at a prices that affordable, because I think they feel like a lot of people really love the Steam Deck, and I think that's where I think they see a broader audience. In Japan, across the world, I just think that a console just is a more limited space versus a handheld. Nintendo's going to prove that, so we'll see how it goes. I mean, but I think you made a point. Why is Valve and Xbox having harder issues with their hardware? Because I would say Xbox isn't a hardware manufacturer. They aren't. They use facilities. They don't own manufacturing. They leverage other companies to produce it for them. They have a sourcing organization that prices components, but they don't stockpile components because they don't have any other hardware businesses to fall in, excluding the AI servers and things they do. And guess what? Microsoft would rather spend their money there, invest all of their capacity into that business rather than the Xbox. So they didn't make very good decisions in a supply chain sense, managing their hardware costs, stockpiling, making deals like Apple is. I mean, Apple made a deal for a full year of RAM capacity at a higher rate, but guess what? They secured it cheaper than other people will. And at this point, that's why I worry about Xbox. I don't think they have any leverage unless Microsoft says, hey, we'll give you some of our capacity we've secured for AI servers for Copilot, but I don't see Satya doing that at all. So I think Xbox is going to be in a very hard spot to become affordable. So I feel like Xbox is going to probably be more niche than they have been. And maybe that's fine because they do have Windows and it's on every PC you own.
Yeah. No, I also agree with that. Yeah, okay. Since we're all more or less on the same point. Let's move on to the next topic. This one is probably going to be a quick hit, but someone posted this on Reddit and I thought it was quite interesting. Red Reptile 2020 says on the Irish gaming Reddit, he says that 89% of GTA 6 pre-orders are for the $100 Ultimate Edition. And in his opinion, he says this is such bad news for the long term. I'm guessing he means that this is a situation where, he predicts that gaming companies, this is going to be a new standard going forward for different games, etc., etc. Oshos, I will go to you first. Do you agree with this statement that this is such bad news long term, or is there some nuance here?
Sorry, I was
You might
muted.
be on mute.
Like I think at the end of the day, like I think I came to the realization that I generally don't like people, not like, but like I am not a fan of people who make purchasing decision solely based on an IP's exposure or how popular an IP is, because they lead to where we are now with the FIFA situation, the NFL situation, like leads to companies not having respect for your money. And I think GTA has gotten so big. It was already that big in 2015, but it's gotten so big and the industry has become so anti-gamer from, I would say, the publisher's perspective in terms of like their monetary practices, that they will only use whatever goodwill they have against gamers, which is what this person is probably worried about. So I think this is horror. This is not great. If you care about these type of games, because you're going to, every single GTA game that comes out, you're going to get less and less and less for more money. And that is where we are right now. We're getting less than we probably got, let's say, when GTA 5 came out, when this game comes out. But we're going to be paying for, just for you to get the in the door experience, everyone is paying for the deluxe edition, where this was not a thing with the previous game. And it's going to keep getting worse. You're going to get, they not even probably working on any DLCs, whereas with GTA 5, at least they were working on DLCs, they canceled them for online support, but there's not even talk of DLCs here. So they're just gonna be, it's gonna be a once-off campaign and then that's it. So I think this is horrible if you really care about GTA or you really like these triple or quadruple A games. I think they're gonna become worse and worse in terms of what you get for your value for your money as the customer. And I think they can get away with it because they're still giving you more value for your money than anyone else closest to them in terms of what GTA is and what people expect from it. That's if it delivers, of course, and it's like almost like a 10 out of 10 game. So no, sorry, I completely agree with this dude. This is not good for if you care about AAA games. This is horrible.
Canwell, what are your thoughts on this as well? Do you think 100, what GTA is doing and the fact that it's 89%, which is extremely high, it might be the highest in terms of any, Ultimate Edition ever out there. Do you think this is a good thing, a bad thing, or are you just indifferent?
Yeah, I think it's a bad thing. It's really unfortunate because I remember the last time we talked, I was bringing this up. It's really showing that they are going with the one game gamers, where it's like, this is my only game. I don't give a fuck what you tell me. I'm buying all the microtransactions in the world. I'm buying everything when it comes to this game. And the data is pointing, oh, we could do this? All right, fuck it, let's do it. And now that is going to be a signal to a lot of other publishers where it's like, oh, this is our best-selling franchise. Well, let's see if we can let's capitalize on this and let's try and see if we can do this. But yeah, it's gonna keep getting more predatory where they're just extracting more from you. With GTA, we knew they were gonna try and, with Nintendo, what Nintendo was doing, it like opened the door for them to just give them any type of leeway to, hey, $80 and then $100. Like at this point, I don't understand why the base edition isn't $70 and then you have this version that's $100. Like it just, I don't like the idea of them locking activities. Okay, stores, but with Rockstar, how they do it, they've been scumbags for a long time. Like that's a lot of the things I try to address in my videos. But I thought it was a real low for them to lock gameplay behind this $100.
Is gameplay locked off?
Yeah, they said activities. They didn't specify activities, but they said, yeah, there's stores that they lock behind, which I'm like, okay, all right, I don't give a shit about the store. But there's certain activities in the game that you won't be able to play unless you have the $100. So I'm like, well, wait, what's up with that?
Yeah, that's I mean, I know you.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. I'm like, huh?
um, okay, that's I think that changes things a little bit. And they haven't like said what the activities would be, right?
Yeah, they haven't said the activities. Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Um, Todd, you've heard Osha's, you've heard Ken's take on this. Do you share the same opinion that this is bad, or are you just indifferent to it? This is not going to affect the industry. It is what it is. This is a once-off unicorn. Let us know your thoughts.
I just think this is more of what we were expecting to get. I mean, we've already seen Xbox do this, right? Oh, here's the Forza edition that so you can play a week early, and you get this content, and it's essentially uh, putting the most ravenous fans into the fate of, well, I want to play it early, so and this is my game, so they're willing to do it. So ultimately, it's a, especially when they get, people can get it for free on Game Pass, but now people are paying extra for a game they get for free just so they can play it early. I think we're seeing that. We saw Mario Kart World, $80. I mean, people could say it's probably worth it because that's their biggest franchise. Don't know. I'm guessing when Animal Crossing, the new game, comes out, that will be very similar. That'll be an $80 game. I just think we see they're going to premium price the biggest franchises. And when we do see a game, I'll give Control Resonant their benefit. They're charging 50, I believe, or 60. So they're charging less. So maybe that opens the door for other games to come in lower price to be competitive and actually not make you choose between the two franchises and say, well, it's cheaper. I can afford that plus this, versus have to sacrifice it. But I do feel like $20, and to your point, I was looking at what is in the edition. I'm just reading it now to myself. So you get exclusive vehicles and garages, you get vehicle customization hubs, weapons and combat extras, side scores, and gang content. So I'm guessing that's the one.
Yeah,
it could
be
side
maybe like
scores
some
and
type
gang
of
content.
like the gangs are trying to maybe fight you or something. So not
Yeah, I don't
maybe
know.
a major activity, but like something that's like
But to your point, yeah,
exclusive.
it's not like this is content that is required for the game, but it is adding that extra benefit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't do the early access, right?
Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm sorry to cut you off.
That's surprising to me.
You could have just done that. Like, I would have been fine with, all right, $80 and then the $100 gives you early access. It's the fact that you're just you're giving all this extra shit. It's just like, well, we waited 13 years for this. You could have just given us the whole game. Like, why are you locking it?
Yeah, I'm guessing part of it though is GTAs don't come out so long, so I think people are so ravenous they just give us everything, right? So like, I'll buy anything you've got. And
you know what I think
will,
instead? Actually, I honestly think they were like, I feel like they were so generous. To be honest, I think $80 for the base edition just to me was like, wow, like you could have went higher. And then when they said, $100 for the premium, I was like, Jesus, you could have went higher for that. And I think what's really happening here is that they've funneled people into the premium edition because it's so much more valuable. And I think people are looking at the $80 and thinking like, oh, that's actually a steal for what we thought this game was going to be. So them upgrading to the $100, it just becomes like a natural thing for them. So I actually think, like, from a marketing point of view, Rockstar did this really, really well. Like, I remember looking at the all the activities and like all the cosmetics in the Ultimate Edition. I was thinking, why would anyone buy the base version when like the Ultimate version is
I think that's what they're doing.
superior.
Yeah, they're basically like, hey, we'll offer it to you. Kind of like remember when the PlayStation Digital launched? It was hard to find, but then you could only get the PS5 with the disc that was $100 more. Like, we'll offer it to you. You won't be able to find it, but it's like, oh, thank you for being. But here's the question: they haven't really talked about the online GTA Online. What's next? What if they say, yeah, GTA Online, $30, the new one, and then it's like, so basically they get more money by saying, oh, well, you want this, here it is. So I don't think they're done. I don't think Rockstar is done finding ways to monetize this. I think that Netflix presentation is going to lead right to a GTA show, like an animated series. I think there's going to be more there because outside of GTA, like the game, they had not done much to monetize that franchise. And just think of how much money could be out there to then bring in more people who have never heard of GTA because there's a series now they're hearing about. So I think GTA is going to ramp up so different because they know we're not getting the next GTA for 15 years. So we got to maximize our money beyond just a system because I don't think there's going to be as many ways to play this game at the cheapest price as there has been previously. I just think you're going to lock out people because it's too pricey. So even when it comes to PC, I mean, you can't. I mean, to play GTA 6 on a decent rig on PC when it comes out maybe in 2 years, it's not going to be cheap either. So they know they have to get as much juice out of the fans they can get by the game now.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thanks for that. Listen,
are you guys buying it? What edition are you guys buying?
Yeah, day one. Like I haven't even. Listen,
I'm gonna
it's
buy
crazy. I haven't even seen this game, and I'm like, yeah, day one.
I've never beat a GTA game. So my question, when you were talking about GTA 4, I look, can I even play? Where can I even play it? I guess I can play it on PC.
Yeah,
it's not on PlayStation 5. Yeah. And then I have GTA 5, but I remember when I was going to play it, my son was young, and when I showed up at the strip joint, I'm like, oh, my son's going to walk on this, so I had to pause it. So I really need to play GTA 5 or 4 first, I think. I played a little bit of 4 back in the day, but I think that's what I'm going to play. I'm going to play GTA 5 first and see if it gets me. I'm waiting for a disc, to be honest. Maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't.
5 is on everything. So 5 is on, it's like Skyrim is on every console since the PS3.
Except for Switch,
4
right?
is a bit tricky. Except for the Switch, yes.
Yeah.
It's not on the Switch.
Yeah.
Is it not on the Switch?
It's
no, it's not on the Switch.
No, they never came to Switch. No. Yeah. So
which is actually a missed opportunity by Rockstar. They're leaving money on the table there. That game would go to number 1 tomorrow if it released on the Switch.
I still own an Xbox 360. Maybe I should just buy GTA 4 and play it on the 360.
Yeah, I mean, if you have an Xbox
be a horrible
One,
way, would it?
Sorry, do you have a 360?
Do
you have a series?
The only Xbox I own is a 360 because I own a PC. So I'm like, I don't need an Xbox, but I did get the 360 play.
Yeah,
but I mean, I'm wondering if it's just played on PC though. GTA 4 on PC.
Yeah, you should. PC is better.
Okay, cool.
PCs are the best place to play mostly everything now these days. So
yeah, you're gonna get the base version of the game.
That's right.
All the games if you get it on PC.
Fun fact: I did play GTA 3 on an old school Sony laptop when I was deployed to Saudi Arabia, and there's no controller support, so I was using like mouse control to control the vehicle. Worst experience ever. I said I'm never doing that again.
Cool. Guys, Mass Effect is on the screen, and the reason why is because I do have a question in relation to EA being purchased now. And I guess the question is, at the end of the day, will Mass Effect continue? So, do you guys envision that if EA, Saudi, whatever you want to call them now, wanted to sell off the Mass Effect IP, which developer would you like to take this on board and make the next Mass Effect game? Todd, I'll go to you first.
This is a hard one. I do feel bad for BioWare, but I just think they picked the wrong buyer when they went with the EA. But if the BioWare team doesn't survive, but they decide to sell off the IP, I mean, I don't know if it would work or be a great relationship, but I think CD Projekt Red would be the studio I would love just based on the storytelling and those side missions like we saw in The Witcher and Cyberpunk. But I don't know if they have the ability to make this style of game. So that's a hard one. I'm trying to think of any other studio that can do this type of large-scale game and do it in a way that's so impressive from any studio. Maybe I would say this. Maybe if the Collective was given the ability to do something new, I could see the Collective do something cool with this game because I think they've got great mechanics, and I think they could really be free to do something other than Gears, and maybe they'd be a good studio for it.
Okay, cool. Kenwell, who would you bestow the Mass Effect IP to?
All right, this is actually kind of. I was thinking about it. But I was like Bungie, but now I'm like, their expertise, the expertise is a little too first person. But then I started thinking of a company that likes to, their bread and butter is already established IPs. I was thinking Saber Interactive.
Oh.
And I'm like, they usually are pretty good with handling IPs and knowing when to, all right, let's add our own element to it, which is like their combat. I feel like the reason why I like Saber is they know how to take the strengths of the IP and bolster it, like just strengthen it even more and just let's dial in on this. So the Warhammer game, it's a power fantasy. We're going to dial into that. So I feel like Saber would be a good studio. They have like, I think thousands of employees all over the world. They would be able to handle a lot of side missions and quests and all of that. So I would go with Saber if they were to pick up Mass Effect.
Not a bad shout. Raichi over here says In Exile will be his pick. I think that's a good shout. I do have some queries on that, but sure. Oshus, who would you pick to be the custodian of the next Mass Effect game?
Shift up.
So the one thing I just need to find out, who owns the Baldur's Gate franchise? I know it's not Larian.
It's Wizards of the Coast own it. Yeah.
Is it Wizards?
Yeah, Wizards.
So what you want ideally is you want someone who can, first of all, I'm just thinking from a business perspective, you want someone that's going to be able to afford. Ideally, you want a situation where somebody buys BioWare, right? The entire organization or the company with the IPs. Because again, like I think it's a useless IP to an Arab state-run EA who only cares about Ronaldo, and that's probably why they bought the damn freaking companies for Ronaldo. So that's a useless IP. They did NFL and all that other story. Yeah, the stuff is gonna make them money. So my first question would be, okay, who do I want to buy the BioWare as an organization, or even if it's just all the IPs and everything that they own? It would be someone like Wizards, who would have a stake, like for instance, in making other forms of entertainment, like movies, like board games, etc., would benefit from that. And of course, they also work closely with Larian, on Larian's other IPs, so they could get Larian to make Dragon Age, for instance. I don't know if Larian would be able to make a Mass Effect game, but the guys, for instance, if this game Exodus becomes successful, you could get a lot of those guys to work with other talent you've got left over from BioWare to sort of get the band back together type of thing and do something with it from that perspective. In terms of who's ready to make a Mass Effect game, which studio would have the ability to make a Mass Effect game just like as their next thing. If I look at skills and abilities and resources, I would probably say your best bet would be like a CD Projekt. I think they would crush because they have a very deep history with BioWare and Mass Effect. They use the same engine for the original Witcher games. So those guys could make you an awesome BioWare type game, especially Mass Effect. It would be a walk in the park with them to take what they did with CD Projekt Red and convert it with the Cyberpunk 2077 and convert that engine into a Mass Effect engine. Or using Unreal Engine 3. I don't think it would be an issue for them either way. Yeah. So short answer is I would love for Wizard to buy the IP, but in terms of making a game, I would definitely task someone like actually there's another developer. Who are the guys? Owlcat, I have concerns. I wouldn't give it to Owlcat. I would probably
they haven't proven themselves yet.
Yeah.
No, not in this type of game. I would go with CD Projekt Red and Wizard of the Coast. as published.
So Reggie first says In Exile, and I think In Exile is similar to Alcat in a sense. Now, I would actually trust In Exile a little bit more than maybe Alcat, but the problem I think here is that In Exile hasn't really made a game this big. I'll trust the writing and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know if I'll trust the gameplay. Listen, I've already seen things from Clockwork Revolution from a gameplay perspective that I think looks okay, but doesn't look entirely polished, right? So no for them. Rachel says Xenoblade Chronicles team. That's a that's a funny one because I don't think they can ever come close to that. Like graphically, story wise, I think they do really good sci-fi games, but I think they do really good sci-fi JRPG games. I don't know if they have the Western writing to make a Mass Effect game, which is Western writing, right? They might make a Japanese game, and you're gonna see all this kind of all these noises and like Shepaku and all this kind of bullshit. Like it's just not gonna work, bro. All these corny things happen, like Shepard falls on Miranda and the camera pans out and everyone's like, oh, nah, we don't want that.
Giant tear.
Yeah, listen, all these things. But one thing I think where I really agree with Ushers here is I would give it to CD Projekt Red. I think their writing with The Witcher 3 and especially Cyberpunk is top notch when it comes to the second game. When it comes to the side characters and the creation of the characters, I think they have a similar vibe towards the maturity, the themes that Mass Effect would go for as well. My only concern with CD Projekt Red would have been the combat, right? The shooting mechanics, whatever. But hey, guess what? They did a really good job with Cyberpunk, and I expect them to do better. So I expect the combat mechanics for Mass Effect to be better than what we got in Cyberpunk. And this is all the hacking stuff and all that kind of shit. It's pretty cool. And they've dealt with driving as well, so you could simply you can see them do that. I think CD Projekt Red is probably the best team to do it. Now, will they want to be tasked to do it? I don't think so. I think they would have to buy the IP. They would have to own it. And to be honest, I think CD Projekt Red having Cyberpunk, Mass Effect, and The Witcher, those three IPs in rotation, oof.
Yeah.
I think that's perfect.
And you're forgetting one big one, Dragon Age. They are shoo-in to make you a fucking kick-ass Dragon Age game.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Well, I 2 Fantasy.
Yeah. I mean, I think they also own what's the other IP they made? It was that Asian game, Jade Empire. I think they own that.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, it's really hard because BioWare. I don't know how many people are still around since the founding of that studio, but they obviously made Knights of the Old Republic. I mean, they did so many cool games. And they did work on Baldur's Gate back in the day, and now with CD Projekt Red working on, I believe they're using Unreal Engine for one of the Witcher remakes. That allows them to. Mass Effect wasn't the Legendary Edition on Unreal. Legendary Edition. So that could work really well. And quite honestly, CD Projekt Red, they work with IPs that existed. Cyberpunk, it's an existing IP. The Witcher books, they license that property and make those games, so they're familiar with working with IP. And maybe there's just a way that let's put it this way. Maybe EA says, you know what, we don't want to keep BioWare, but hey, we'll give you the license and you make this game for us. And then The Witcher, CD Projekt Red said, okay, cool. And then they end up hiring a lot of the BioWare team. I
would have wanted them to hire them, to be honest with you.
They couldn't. It's not even the same people, too. Like BioWare, it's not even the same people that worked on Mass Effect.
No. Because for me, I would want the writers of Cyberpunk and The Witcher to do that. And I would want the guys who did the game. Listen, you could
maybe some of the engine guys, maybe some of that, right? That know the mechanics really well and can help that team.
What's funny? I was gonna say hire someone for the lore. It's like, actually, no, you don't. Just go on Wikipedia. Just talk to me. Talk to me about the lore.
There's comic books.
Hire me. I'll sort you out.
Exactly.
Exactly. If they need anyone, they can just get, for instance, the original sort of leadership team to consult on just the major things.
Was Corey Hudson on the original trilogy, or was that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Casey. It was Casey and Drew Carpishin who were like the master.
Yeah.
The one
Yeah.
like the
Honestly,
Hire some.
I'm never gonna like. I get what you guys talk about when it comes to consulting, but like, I'm just like, no, like, because here's the thing. Yeah, I trust CD Project Red will, look at the law, because listen, with Cyberpunk, they were very like meticulous. They spoke to the creator, but like, I think if they're gonna make some kind of changes or whatever it is, I almost feel like I trust them to do it because it's gonna make gameplay and story narrative sense. I don't really expect them to make mistakes. To be honest, so if they're like, yeah, we're talking to like the old guys, I'm like, yeah, sure, screw them, like move on, all good, all
Yeah.
good here. Bro.
But a counter to what you're saying is, I don't know about the Witcher books, but Portsmouth, is it Michael Portsmouth, the
Yeah.
guy who made?
Yeah.
He's been part and parcel of the development
True.
process for Cyberpunk, and I don't see them looking at a guy like Drew or a guy like Casey and saying, "Oh, these guys will not be instrumental." Even you don't have to bring both of them, but I would take at least one. At least the one thing I like about the writer, what's his name, Drew, is the fact that he is a science fiction writer through and through. So he's the law master. He's the guy that you need. Whereas Casey was more the creative direction of the game.
Mm.
Drew was the law guy. I read his books. His understanding of the world is second to none. So I would at least bring him on board.
So the only reason why I don't want to say pushback, but I think, yeah, it makes sense, is that with Mike and the guy who wrote The Witcher, these are the creators of that universe and that world, and they wrote the specific books. So you're pulling from them, and you kind of like, asking them to clarify certain things. When it comes to Drew, because there was multiple teams writing it, the question is, well, who came up with the idea of the Osiris doing this? And when I was, doing my research on Mass Effect, there were different people who had ideas for like, oh, let's make a green character, okay, let's make it blue. So Drew wrote, like, he was a creative writer of, like maybe the overreaching world. But when it comes to some of the details, he might not even know. He might be like, I didn't write that part. Like, that part was part of the game, and somebody put it in, and I said, yeah, sure, go ahead. So now you're dealing with like a team of writers, and at that point, this might sound like a brazen thing to say, but I wouldn't be surprised if me, you, or some of the guys here, or some of the other YouTubers know more details about the Mass Effect universe than Drew himself. And I mean details. Because remember, Drew didn't write the third game. He left. He wrote a completely different story. So I could be like, no. Let me tell you about what happened in Mass Effect 3 with the Leviathans, because he didn't write any of that part. So I should probably know more than him.
Yeah, but the point is, like, Mass Effect 3 in terms of writing is probably the weakest version. It's like the weakest game out of the three.
No, but I'm speaking from a lore perspective. In terms of
no, but in terms of the lore, don't forget, like, and this is the thing about lore, like, the lore of the Witcher books is not the same as the lore in the games. What I mean by that is that there's certain points where they deviate and they do different things in the game. So you don't lead that person. You sort of need them to be like to ground the people that are writing, because it's still going to be a team writing the game. But you need a lead writer to ground the team and bring them back to their vision, to say, okay, cool, you can write all these smaller parts and these things, but this is the core vision that brings us together, so we have a cohesive world that works. And the end, like what happened in Mass Effect 3 would not in any way, I think, impact his version of Mass Effect 3. In fact, I think his version of Mass Effect 3 is probably far superior. It's a pity it never made it, like it got left on the cutting room floor. But I just feel that the writing took a huge step down. Even the way that and again, this is just me being a fan, the way that Mass Effect 3 cuts between scenes is so awkward to me compared to how they did it in Mass Effect 2. Like, everything is tightly done with Mass Effect. If you play them back to back, it's so glaringly obvious that 3 is the weaker of the two games in terms of writing direction.
That's actually funny, because some people think 2 is the one that's all over the place. They think it's like the worst game, but
really,
yeah, some people actually said that like 2 is like the worst game, because it seems like it's all over the place. And I think the reason why is because it felt like towards the end it was rushed, or like that wasn't part of the plan. Like the Reaper human was a bit strange. But let's let's move on to an Xbox Doom guy, whatever you want to call it, question, and then we'll get to some true or false. Let me just put this up. Huh. Hold on, since my system is frozen again.
CD Projekt Red would be awesome though to handle this shit. It would be so cool.
Agreed.
The graphics,
I think,
the world, the girl characters. Oh,
dude, the Asari would finally be attractive again.
Yeah, bro. Oh my god.
I just worry, when do they find the time, right? They've got so many projects.
Yeah, that's another.
Yeah, I don't think they can.
They
I don't think they
couldn't.
would even want. Like, they would have to hire basically a whole new team. And I guess to Ushers' point, at this point, you would actually probably have to bring in people from BioWare to help out.
And they would need a cash cow. They would need a multiplayer game to be bringing in a lot of money.
Well, funny enough, Mass Effect has done multiplayer before.
Yeah,
Mass Effect.
Yeah, go.
I was gonna say Mass Effect literally invented loot boxes. That's a lot of people forget, is that ironically the RPG.
Yo, what?
You know,
I gotta hear this.
They invented loot boxes. Like that came with Mass Effect 3 and the multiplayer mode. It was the first EA loot box based game, and I believe it was one of the first games in gaming, and probably the most popular example of loot boxes.
Do they charge for those, or was it just you got something from winning?
No, you bought. They charged for them. You had to buy packs.
Oh,
wow.
You unlocked them either through finishing the mission, or
didn't they do something with the multiplayer in the Legendary Edition where they basically said it wasn't contingent on how you did in that to actually move the story forward?
Yeah, they removed that feature. It was from Mass Effect 3, which was the war assets. So
That's right.
So you didn't need the multiplayer anymore to contribute to the war assets. And how you sort of accumulated war assets in the original Mass Effect 3 is that you played the multiplayer. So they didn't force you to buy packs. But if you wanted the better gear and whatever to progress the multiplayer, you had to buy more expensive loot boxes.
I found my card the other day. You know, the Mass Effect card you got that had like your information on it. I'll have to find it. That was fun. I think it came in one of the editions.
Yeah, with the legendary, the N7 edition, I think.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Let's talk about Chris Hayes, a lead service programmer at its software. And here's his statements. This was in relation to the layoffs that occurred at his studio. He says, Microsoft or Xbox, they fundamentally don't understand art and they don't understand games. He also argued that Microsoft doesn't understand the business model of creative development, particularly the conflict between long-term game development and short-term corporate quarterly thinking. He stated, how can we get this financial quarter or year to look good? Those don't align with the same things that make a successful game. My question to you, and I'll head over to you first, Oshers, is, well, Ken, I'll head over to you first, is does he have a point here? Or is this just an employee not taking accountability, just being, disgruntled at what's happened, etc., etc.? What's your take on his comments that's going at Microsoft, which is quite surprising because he still works there?
Yeah, he was tight. I saw this interview. I think their reputation precedes them. I don't think they really know about creative decisions. Yes, he is disgruntled, but from what they've done, what they've put out in their effort with, hey, we're going to try this, and then it either coming out in a really bad state or it just getting canceled, just goes to show that Xbox the top level people don't have a good taste meter, and second, they don't know how to execute on creative decisions. It just goes to show, like, everything with Halo, Gears hasn't really evolved into anything like what he said. It's just appeasing the old fans. They haven't had a new IP come out in years. Like I don't even think we're getting a new IP from them anymore, except for Clockwork. But we'll see how that does. Everything they've done just goes to show that what he's saying is true. Like their creative decision making and execution is just not there. So I agree with him. I can't really. I just can't disagree with this guy.
Mm-hmm. And Todd, your thoughts on this alleged disgruntled employee or this truth speaker?
I mean, I think he's absolutely right. I mean, Microsoft is not a creative, artistic company. They are a company that makes software for productivity and running your operating system and accessing your items in the cloud. Anytime they've tried to go beyond that, it's been kind of really challenging for them. They don't really own any content except the IPs that they own because of their games. And then I would say creatively, we've seen one success and one failure in regards to the actual development of that IP into something that's beyond the media, which would be Halo, and then you had Fallout. Now I would say, I don't know who gets the credit, but picking Jonathan Nolan, or is it Jonathan Nolan to run Fallout? Great decision. The other person that was in charge of Halo, picking that team, don't know. Obviously, sometimes it's lucky, sometimes it doesn't. But it is a challenge to say we're going to cut a lot of people who are potentially going to people that make the creative decisions and make these games that are amazing. And then they say, we're also going to double down on our old IP. So that to me tells you that they're going to get less creative, more risk averse, just to double down on what it potentially has worked in the past, but not always. So I think he's upset because too, it's like, well, who's making the decisions? Well, one of the big persons that greenlit these games that were supposed to be amazing and told us, yeah, keep working on them, we're greenlit, was Matt Booty. Matt Booty at any time could have said, stop working on those games. They aren't going to deliver. So I don't know if at that point Matt Booty is the tastemaker. He knows what he's doing because it seems like for every win they get, they take a step back. So I think if I was at Xbox right now and considering that there are still 1,600 layoffs coming, I worry that I don't know how I can continue to work at this company because I don't know what success means. And if I can no longer work on things that are creatively interesting to me, I don't know, I'm going to give my best work, especially when I feel like I don't know if I've got a job next week. So I think Microsoft is not a healthy place to work right now. I think it's full of fear and doubts and unknowns. And I just would be afraid to understand, like, wait, we tried to do some things that were really creative and cool. Well, when we did that, those didn't sell enough, so we're getting rid of them. So I don't know. I feel like if you are a creative person, I don't think working at Microsoft is a great place to be. Zasha is not a creative endeavor. She makes products. She doesn't make like media. She doesn't like that. So she doesn't have any background. And the people on her staff, I would say not many of those people also know anything about media or art or things like that. So I don't think they've improved their position to make more creative and more entertaining games. I think they're just hoping to make bigger games that sell a lot. So that doesn't make me happy as a creator.
Okay. Oshos, you've heard everyone's take. Chris Hayes, very strong opinion. Are you of the same opinion as him on his critique with Xbox, or is he waffling somewhat?
It's funny because none of these guys were saying all this stuff when they were being handed Microsoft's money hand over fist to do whatever the fuck they wanted. Like, I think sometimes we also need some honesty when it comes to these guys. Like, it sucks now, but when Phil Spencer was stepping out on stage like a rock star, you all were cheering. When he used to come around to sample your games that never made it to release, you all couldn't wait to jump up and say, yeah, Phil, like let's do this. Yeah, and we're doing this. Like, so. Again, he's, for me, as someone who's like worked the entire life, I think it's incredibly, this is a guy that probably has options. And he probably knows that he doesn't need, and if Microsoft fires him a month from now, it's no big deal to him. But I also think it's also indicative of the kind of people who work for Microsoft. And as an employer, it tells me a lot about the people you have on there. There's a sense of entitlement for you people under your employ to literally call you an incompetent organization. I'm not defending he's right, but I'm just wondering. I've never had that sense of entitlement that I can go in an interview and say, this company's whack, bro. Like, I don't know what the freaking hell the guy that's running this is smoking. Like,
Oh my god, yeah.
It's crazy.
Listen, I
to
saw
me-
this and I was like, Jesus Christ, he still works there? What the hell?
Good luck.
And to your point, no one at Sony or Nintendo is doing
Yeah.
this.
And I just think that the people that work for Xbox take Xbox so much for granted. Yes, I understand that their practices when it comes to like laying off people, to me, it still just blows my mind. And these are things, mind you, that Phil Spencer did as well. Where the one moment they're celebrating something, the next moment we're just, 500 people, 1,000 people have to go. Blows my mind, but I don't blame Microsoft for that. I blame the system that enabled them to be able to treat their stuff like that. But I think Microsoft has a problem, or has had a problem, under Phil Spencer's administration, where they had a whole bunch of people that were very entitled in terms of like their relationship with Xbox. They believed like it's almost like Xbox was their mom or their dad, not an employer. So they are shocked to see Xbox acting like an employer because results are not what was promised. So results did not, turn out the way that they wanted to be. So now let's go to accountability. Two things. First of all, was the leadership of Xbox accountable for where they ended up? Absolutely. Absolutely 100% they should take the blame. However, I do feel that they hired, like one of the biggest detriments with Xbox is they hired a lot of people that did not have the discipline to finish games. Now, ID, in my opinion, would be the exception to that rule. ID can make and finish awesome games. But I do feel that ID had a lot of staff as well that under Phil Spencer's regime had a lot of say in how things were run. And a lot of those people were probably let go because it just didn't make sense financially, because a lot of those people had been there over 7 years and so forth. And my understanding with Microsoft, the longer you're there, the more they have to pay you.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So a lot of those
things.
decisions, I think a lot of those decisions from Asher's perspective came down from that. But Microsoft needs to change the way that they hire. They need people that are much more responsible from a business perspective in gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I don't think
they acquired these people. They didn't hire. They just acquired these studios. So a lot of ways, right. They didn't have foresight over their employees, their whole structure. Yeah. And my pushback would be on this. In this case, its games have delivered critically and have done great. And they're actually, they called out Doom as being like one of the pillars of the new thing. And it's like, but then what did Microsoft do at that point? They decided to cut that studio significantly. Said, well, you've got the same amount of people that made Doom in 2016. Well, 2016 is 11 years ago. It feels like a million years ago. And it's like, I just feel like it sends out the message of like, we're saying a lot, but we just need to cut numbers. And we're just, and Asha doesn't know where to cut. I don't know if Matt Booty truly knows where to cut. I think they just said, we're just going to cut 20% off each and we call it done. Because that's what most companies do. They don't actually look at performance. They don't look at these things. They say, we got to get the numbers, and whoever we pay the most, you're gone first. And it sucks.
Yep. And the sad thing is that they're not going to be able to replace that talent in any shape or form. I think the losses that they've made with this last round of firings and the firings that they're still going to be doing, it's irreplaceable in terms of how flexible talent-wise they're going to be. So I'm interested to see how they're going to deliver on this this promise of having only big IPs and focusing only on big IPs. Are they going to be able to make all those big IPs 9 out of 10 games? Do they have the talent to do that? Left over. And aside from what
if one fails, right? If one fails,
100%.
Wow. I mean,
and over and above that, think about this. It's one thing to have the talent, but now it's literally like a concentration camp. Everybody's walking on eggshells. Everybody's delivering because it's or else. I don't think that's the best sort of environment to brew people that are going to make creative.
I don't know if listen, I'll be very honest here. I think Xbox needs that. These people need to fear that, oh, if I
That makes
mess up
the
and take a
best
piss.
creative content is
No, but you
fearful
see,
people.
but I don't think it's
Christopher
about creative
Nolan
content.
loves
I
it
think
when
it,
he's told, "We're gonna fire you, Chris.
Yeah,
You're
now
gonna
he's
I
make the next
feared.
think this is
Odyssey."
more
Nope.
maturity here, because I think what's happened here is like, like we all saw the videos where like Phil steps in and then you have all these guys from Compulsion and freaking South of they're high fiving and shaking ass and tweaking and twerking with you. Like, no, you can't be doing that. I'm like, when Cory Barlog says Shuei Yoshida stepped in and I was afraid. And when he played my game and he shook his head and walked out, I shit my pants. And then you got God of War 2018. Like, like Shuei is a guy who you respect. When these developers go to Shigeru Miyamoto and they give him his game and he's like, what the hell is this shit? How's this fun? Go back and make a better game. And then they reiterated 5 times, you get Splatoon. When Retro Studios were making games, Nintendo was like, cancel that shit, cancel that, do it this way, do it that way. You got Metro Prime. So the problem is these developers are just like, yeah, we do whatever the hell we want to do, regardless if it's commercially viable. So now that you know that, like, yeah, if we don't make a commercially viable game, we're out the business. Yeah, that is the pressure you probably need to make a commercially viable game. At some point, someone's gonna say, yo, bro, I know you want to make this artsy fartsy lighthouse game that's a platforming, but I don't know how this is gonna like be viable to then allow me to feed my kids. So how about we don't do it? Because I envision with the new Xbox leadership that if this game doesn't succeed, we get shut down. And I think if you have that knowledge that in 5 years' time, if we don't make a good game, we're gonna get shut down. Do you know what happens? They start to say, okay, fine, let's go to the forums, let's go online and see what else ushers want to play. What else Ken Wall like? What else Todd want to play? Because I could tell you for damn sure, none of us wanted to play South of Midnight or freaking Lighthouse or Kiln. Okay, well, okay.
I love South of Midnight. I thought it was a great game because it felt fresh.
Okay, in fairness now,
but I think to your point, when you say what's consumer, at that point you're basically saying what's popular. Well, what's popular now? And that gets people in trouble, and that's why they brought on Double Fine. They brought on Double Fine because you can make cool stuff, and we're not pressuring you to deliver. You're going to put game. This all is the problem on Xbox. Didn't have really good strategy. They thought Game Pass was the way, so fill that up with the pipeline. You don't have to change your culture. Everything's good. That's why people are so excited to join Xbox because we're not going to lose our identity. And that's where they sold them a false bill of basically complacency, and then they completely changed it. Like, you bought us for this, now you're telling us different. That is a bad culture. Xbox right now has a bad culture because they are now trying to act like the Microsoft. It's you just can't do that on a dime, because then you're saying, well, everybody we hired under these pretenses, now you have to shift. That's not helping anybody.
Those people are going to be so resentful because you brought them in as like in a hippie parade, and everybody was to your point, smoking blunts, twerking, and having fun. You expect those people to deliver. You've taught them all the wrong behaviors to the point that they are willing to defy you on TV. They are willing to try and unionize and do all these things. You cannot you cannot manage that behavior. Like, as a leader, you have to make a choice that, well, the whole thing has to go. We have to start from scratch and get people who are going to have the mindset that we need to make games, not the ones that are angry at you because you're pissing on the hippie parade.
But
none of those people are going to produce AAA games for you.
My pushback here is these people and these studios are gone. Ninja Theory is gone. Double Fine is gone. Compulsion is gone. So the question is, well, who remains? Well, Obsidian remains. They ain't gonna take the piss. Activision Blizzard, it remains. They ain't gonna take the piss. So, like, I think you had a situation where you had Call of Duty devs that were like, no, we take this shit seriously, and we making games that's making profit, but you're saying our profits are subsidizing freaking Kiln. Like, how's that a fair? It doesn't sound fair to me. So, like, I get what you guys are saying. Says like, listen, creativity is important, etc., and Xbox is seen as a toxic place right now. But my take here is more like, if you survive this layer of controversy or whatever it is, and now you're being managed. And to be fair, what Xbox is really saying here is this: we're gonna give you 4 years to make a game. and the game has to be profitable. If it's not, you're gonna get shut down. And this level that we're operating at right now is the same level everyone else operates at. You can't. I don't know how you think you can take 100 million, make a failed project, and still expect to survive. That's not how entertainment works.
You're right, but it's just simple. It's easier said than done because the damage is it's so deep. Like what he was saying, it's so deep. What Aushus and Todd is saying, like you're trying to make someone who's a slacker who doesn't study, and then all of a sudden, nah, you got to study. You got to get this A on this test. Well, I don't know how to fucking study. I don't know how to do that. Like it's a bad situation. And one of the biggest elephants in the room, Todd Howard and Asha, bro. I know Todd Howard feels some type of way now because he got to listen. And how Phil Spencer was doing, he was his own boss. It felt like. So I mean, listen, I don't know how that's gonna go.
But listen, I'll say this, yeah, I completely agree, yeah. But if Onamura has to listen to Shigeru Miyamoto, if Cory Barlog has to listen to Yoshida and everyone else, no matter how big they are, then I think it's about time someone starts listening to like some of these Xbox senior people as well. Like you can't just do what put it this way, yeah. I can almost imagine if Yoshida was at Xbox, and he's playing Starfield, and he's like, yeah, this is all cool and all that kind of stuff, but like, why the hell we got 1,000 planets? Like this is boring. Like remove the shit. If Miyamoto is at Xbox, he's saying like, okay, but what is the purpose of this 1,000 planets? And Todd is gonna be like, well, players want to expose. Like, no. Players don't want 1,000 planets. You want 1,000 planets. I don't see how this is going to be commercially good for the game. Yeah. I don't make it commercially good for the game.
So here's a question.
Or get rid of it.
Who's the right person now at Xbox to say, from a game perspective, knowing Matt games,
Booty,
but Matt Booty greenlit a lot of stuff and didn't stop a lot of games from coming out. He kind of hasn't shown exactly like saying, yes, I'm a pacemaker, right? I mean, and here's another question. When we talk about profitability, didn't Asha say we're no longer at the behest of whatever type of accountability margin? I sure as hell hope that everybody on every team now, every game, has a big number that says what they have to hit.
Yeah.
Number of copies sold, profitability numbers, what our current budget is. And I hope that's showing on everybody's screen. Because I feel like right now, Xbox actually could say, well, it changed. It changed. Oh, numbers this and that. They need concrete numbers to give these people to work towards. Because if they don't, and they say, oh, it wasn't profitable enough. Are you sure? Our guys said we're on track, on time, hitting the numbers, but we still got cut? But we still hit our profit number? Well, we need to cut people because so that's what I'm saying. Cut through the bullcrap. And if they give these teams the real number, and if they don't hit, they understand it. But I feel like unless they have that transparency, I feel like Xbox is going to continue where they are, which is basically we're going to keep changing our strategy because it hasn't worked, so we'll try it again. So I'm hopeful everybody knows the number to hit.
No, I agree, and I do think Asha just seems a bit more numbers and business focused. So I think under the previous regime there was no number. It was just like, yeah, make whatever you want to make, guys, and you know how that turned out. Yeah. But guys, listen, we got some true or false questions. So this is the part where if you guys gotta go, you guys can bounce off. I'll just shoot out these questions. Some of the questions I'll ask you to expand on what answers why you said true or false, and some of them we just kind of brush through. First, true or false question. Xbox is the most consumer-friendly platform in relation to Nintendo and PlayStation. Ushers. True or false?
This is undeniably true.
Okay. Ken.
True.
Todd.
Tell me what consumer-friendly means. What does it really mean? Is it like is it the cheapest way to play games? Did I say
just in terms of like? I can give you a couple of reasons why. Number one.
Well, I'm just saying the entry point to get into Xbox right now is 500 or 800, right?
Yeah.
So
okay,
and then even you say Game Pass. Well, that's $23 a month. You want that? Great. Well, if you told me I could buy a Switch at $450 and then get NSO, I've got a lot of games there too. So I don't know. To me, it's consumer friendly. Give me all these amazing games that I want to play that are important to me in this platform. I say it's probably Nintendo. Because let's put it this way: more people want to play Nintendo IPs than anybody else.
No, but hold on. How about this? What if as soon as I say consumer friendly platform, which pops to your mind straight away?
I guess that's what I'm trying to figure. Consumer friendly. If I only own an Xbox and I don't own a PC, what does that do for me? Right?
Okay.
So on one platform, playing one price. I don't pay for cloud streaming because that's extra, so I can only still play on one. How is that consumer friendly to me? Right? So I think it's subjective because consumer friendly can mean a lot of things. For me, I would say it's Nintendo just because it's been a cheap entry point, and they'll continually be the most cheapest entry point into their systems going forward. To me, that's more consumer friendly because if I can't afford your box, it's not consumer friendly.
All right, Phil. Next question. Xbox made the biggest single blunder in gaming history. Ken, true or false?
Repeat it for me, please.
Xbox made the biggest blunder in gaming history. Out of Sega, Nintendo, PlayStation, even the old guys would go like wiped out.
Damn. I would say false.
Oshus?
False. I think this is objectively false as well.
Yeah.
Todd?
I'd agree. I think Sega's probably made
Sega,
horrible decisions. They aren't making consoles anymore. Yeah.
Okay, so Raichi gave a few answers. He says Valve or GOG is the best platform, but it wasn't. I want to talk about those guys, Raichi. He says the cheapest is Epic, and Raichi says Xbox is the most versatile console. I think some people agree with that. Next one, true or false?
Sorry, I just want to go back to that whole whether or not Xbox is in terms of consumer friendly. To me, it's not even about like what Xbox is doing for you from like a value perspective. It comes down to practices, like fair practices against consumers. Number one, what is Sony's return policy on PlayStation? Non-existent. Number two, when Sony makes decisions like deciding to take away physical media, did they actually make an effort to sort of get a team out there to communicate this to their fandom? No, they don't. They don't owe them anything. So they just make a decision and move on. And you look at, like, for instance, even when we talk about what's another good example? But I've got, like, I can give you an entire list of what Nintendo's a good one. Every single time you try and make a video to review Nintendo's own games on YouTube, they flag it. Like there's so many things that and it's the whole mindset, in my opinion, like the difference between how Japanese organizations run their companies versus how Western organizations run their companies. And Microsoft is closer to Apple than I would say Sony or Nintendo, who's like they don't even care about you as a customer. You don't exist to them. You're just a way for them to make money. They don't even try and like pretend that they care about you, which at least Western companies do. And that is where I would say, going back to that, like, I really do feel that Microsoft is like leaps and bounds ahead of both of those.
I would say Valve, their return policy was far better than Microsoft before then. The Steam family sharing is amazing. The fact that I can share my library of games with up to 5 people, including my son. I can play Steam pretty much on any PC I want. Typically have the best prices in games. So for me, that's more value than being stuck on one platform. And
yeah, when I was thinking of this question, I was all like, if I say Steam, I'm good. This is gonna be too easy. I need to kick those guys out. Everyone.
I think all the big three, I don't think are that great because I still think that with their walled gardens and things like that, I think that's not very consumer friendly.
Sure. Next question, guys. The Bungie acquisition is the worst gaming acquisition in the last 10 years. Oh, Ken.
False.
Todd.
False.
Oshus.
False.
Okay, well then I'm gonna expand on that. Ken, what's the worst acquisition in your opinion?
For me, I'm gonna go with recent memory, Activision Blizzard.
Mm. Todd.
I'd agree with that because of how much things have changed since they
Yeah.
bought the company.
Right.
Yeah.
Oshas, I'm actually interested
Same.
in this one, Oshas. Which one do you think it is?
Yeah, same. I agree.
Really?
100%.
I think Bungie's the worst.
What?
Honestly.
How?
Trash,
Look
bro.
how that one ABK completely changed Xbox versus Bungie.
100%.
That sale is not going to completely impact PlayStation.
100%.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know why? So I'll explain why. Now we can maybe argue about it or whatever. The ABK acquisition, you know, it was a situation where Amy Hood decided to like push Xbox towards being more profitable. However, I would argue that they were already on that pathway, like, you know, because I think it was actually a mandate across Microsoft in general that like, yeah, everyone needs to be more profitable, right? Because remember, Sony's already doing it, right? Sony's trying to be more profitable, so there was more of a pressure on them for sure. But here's the part that I thought was really interesting. When ABK was purchased and the deal finally closed, Xbox was still giving ABK's financials out, and they were kind of just showing Xbox's financials separately. Xbox was stagnant for multiple years, and then when they finally merged it, you never knew what Xbox like actual financials were. But Xbox was actually doing bad. They weren't making money; they were just stagnant. Whereas every single like growth margin was attributed to ABK. Like some people were even saying like, "Yo, it seems like ABK is actually is actually was good for Xbox." And that's why when Ash talks about all these like growth margins, she always kind of separates ABK like, yeah, forget about ABK, we're on these margins. So she's saying that the Xbox business itself was failing, whereas ABK was prospering. And now we have that Blizzard was the best studio in Xbox that grew in the last year or so. So I get what you guys are saying because it changed it. I'm just wondering if those changes would have started to happen anyway, because I do think Xbox was under pressure. But I do get your point.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. I honestly thought Bungie sucks, bro. They are so trash. Like honest to God.
There was a bad decision by Sony.
Yeah.
They didn't look close enough at those financial numbers, but ultimately,
like
they're only
Yeah,
$4 billion,
literally.
and
So
that's a small impact to Sony
Mhm.
compared to essentially ABK being $69 billion. That completely changed Xbox's
Yeah.
direction and what they had to do as a company. So that's pretty huge. Whether it works out or not
Just
in the
to
long
add
run,
to
I
that-
guess we'll see.
just to add to that, like I think the biggest misconception, and somebody said this, and when this was happening, is that a lot of people thought that Xbox was buying Activision Blizzard.
Yeah.
But what was actually happening is that Xbox was being bought by Activision Blizzard. And
Yeah.
like you have to just look at the shift in terms of like the directors and the board and the people they a lot of that deal was so it's the same reason who's this Bobby Kotick came under fire recently, because of the fact that that deal was so favorable for the top brass at Activision Blizzard. Almost out of everyone that walked away from that deal, like there's like Phil I would actually investigate Phil if I was responsible for any sort of like, because he was friends with Bobby before this for many years. But my thing is, literally, it was a hostile takeover of Xbox from Activision, and immediately when that takeover was complete, first thing they announced was that they're making everything third party. So who affected who?
No, I mean it's a very strong argument. I'm never gonna like push back. It's just obviously from a just acquisition point of view, like ABK is just far more valuable going forward than Bungie's just trash, bro. I mean, but
Yeah.
I get you guys' point. Richie says Firewalk Studio is the worst acquisition in the last 10 years.
That is
He does say interesting how Blizzard is back to profitability once they brought boobs and ass again.
It's like cells.
Yeah.
but Call of Duty might be in Call of Duty. We'll see what I'm gonna wait to see how this next one does. But the last one didn't do really well.
I think this one's gonna do much better because I feel like the last one everyone knew it was gonna be shit just simply because they didn't have enough development time to make it. Whereas this one is like the premium one that like a lot of time went into it. So I do think this one's gonna be better. The next question: when all is said and done, Steam Machine will be seen as a failure. Ken, true or false?
True.
Cautious.
But yes, that is true.
Todd,
False.
expand.
I don't think Steam Machine has to do much to really impact. If Steam Machine fails, Valve is not affected whatsoever. They're not selling the box at a loss. They're fine. And I think if Steam Deck 2 is a failure, I think that's a bigger, bigger issue with Valve in the future if they can even compete in hardware.
Fair. Next one. GTA will break sales records, but will not be the revolutionary genre-defining game some people think it will be. Oshus?
Say that again, sorry?
GTA will break records, but it will not be the revolutionary genre-defining game some people might think it will be.
True. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised at how this GTA turns out in terms of the reception. The world has changed so much since 2015 or 2013, actually. I don't think even GTA is ready for 2026 world or planet Earth, and I think they overestimate their readiness. So yes, I think false. I don't think it's going to be as big as people think it's going to be.
All right, Todd?
I would say yes, it's going to sell well, but I don't think it will change gaming from a experience.
And Ken, the person I was thinking about when I wrote this one,
Yeah.
we were playing GTA. Because I mean, listen, you were saying some good things like, "Yo, this game really holds up well. It's good. It's great." So I'm actually quite interested to know because it's fresh in your mind. You've seen what Rockstar's done with Red Dead Redemption 2 and the previous GTA game. So what's your take on this? Do you think it's gonna be genre defining, something that everyone's gonna look back and say, "Yeah, this was the shit. This was the game to play."
Yeah, I think I agree with the guys. True. What I believe Rockstar is going to do with GTA 6 is, yes, it's going to be more of the same, but every existing system is going to have another system built on top of it. Like, for example, carjacking. There's going to be more ways to carjack. There's going to be more ways to shoot outside the car. Your car is going to be storage. Like, if you played Red Dead Redemption 2, I think that's what people really need to compare GTA 6 to when it comes to, like, Todd hit it right on the nail. Like, it's when it comes to the experience part, I think it's going to be you go into the mission, there's going to be a cutscene, then you drive to the mission, there's going to be some fucked up thing that happens that's a joke or something, and then there's going to be a shootout, and then you got to drive away, and then mission end. I think that's what the formula is going to be. But again, it's because it's Rockstar, they're going to be able to just bump everything up, like the open world, the dialogue, the systems in the game, like how realistic the animations are, and all of that. I think that's where they're going to fool people, but it's not going to be this genre defining thing.
Cool. Good answer. In relation to what we were talking about with the Steam Machine, Reggie says he disagrees. He thinks the Steam Machine is seen as a collective piece. It's a beta box. And he then says the Steam frame is the goal. ARM gaming is the future. In relation to the GTA questions, he says GTA will be amazing. No doubt about it. It will be a metaverse. And then he says, what if GTA 6 physics are so great, I'd rather play basketball in GTA over NBA 2K? He says, what if the tennis is better in GTA than any dedicated $60 tennis game? Basically, he's saying, what if GTA 6 has complex mini golf course? Basically, a games within games in GTA. I think that's
everything game. That's a good theory.
So Fortnite?
Yeah,
But I think we're just gonna say if it's effective is so much better. I think that's it. That's it.
yeah.
But
Because
we
I
still good
I
thing
do
to say.
think GTA 6 will. What I think they'll do is, what's it called, Mind's Eye and Everywhere.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's what I think that's what is going to be a better version of that. And I do think this GTA will have DLC for the single player people.
I hope so. It's been a long time, right? Since 4.
Yeah, I think they will bring that back this time. You could just access it.
Yeah, that's a tricky one. I don't
Because
know.
technically, because GTA Online does have some
Story-driven stuff.
some kind of it's I believe like when Franklin came back, they had a story where Franklin bought a music label, and you had to help Franklin with the music label. So like at the end of the GTA Online stuff, they started getting a little more story centric. So I think GTA 6, whatever they do in the post content, they will have stuff for single player people.
Okay. Next question. Elden Ring was good and hit the casual audience. Elden Ring 2 will be good, but won't grab the casual audience's attention as much. Thought.
Oh, who was the question for?
Oh, you, yeah, Todd.
Oh, it was for me. I'm like the worst person to judge because I don't view myself as casual, but those games are not for me. But yes, it brought in a huge amount of people. So you know what? I think it'll bring in more people. So I'll say false.
Okay. Aushus.
I'll also say false. Like there's something about like great game design, and I think we touched on this when we spoke about Super Mario 64. Like, there's something that those guys at From Software understand about polished game design and game worlds, who exist solely just to be game worlds. And if they can do what they did with Elden Ring, and I don't know how you do it better, but like if they can just tweak that formula enough, I see them landing in the same sweet spot that Zelda games land in. So definitely false. I think it will definitely be another huge crowd pleaser for the casual audience.
Ken?
False. I'm gonna go with false.
Thoughts?
I think I just think it had its moment. With I just feel like there weren't that many games to play at that time for when the console came out. And the fact that they don't continue with the same franchise, I know this could sound very stupid, but some people, if they don't name it Elden Ring 2, some people make those casuals, if they really are casual, they may not know what the hell it is. And if From Software, what they are good at was doing something completely, for the most part, new. If that's true, I don't know. I don't have that much experience, but their games do make a significant jump. They don't look too similar to each other. I feel like that can, if From Software doesn't, casuals want things similar. And I don't know if From Software is comfortable doing something that's similar.
Oh, and they have the Duskbloods coming out, which is their next game. It's coming out on Switch 2.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that will have that impact. And we are getting Elder Scrolls on Switch, I believe, in October. So I guess we'll see. A lot of casuals on Switch 2.
I think the interesting thing about Elden Ring is that I think there are some Elden Ring fans as opposed to like Dark Souls, but to kind of buffer Ken's point a bit, I think there's a situation where you can say that a lot of people got Elden Ring because of the hype. And now that they've played Souls games for the first time, they're like, man, fuck this game. Fuck this. Like, gave me freaking headaches, you know. Like, man, I was pulling my hair out. I'm never touching this again. Because there's some people online who are like, yeah, I'm done, guys. 10 hours in, I've died like 4,000 or 5,000 times. Yeah, I'm cool. You know, and they were probably like, Elden Ring 2? No, I remember the trauma of the first game. I ain't touching that shit again. So that could happen as well. Next question. Phil Spencer will be remembered more as the guy who saved Xbox or the guy who nearly killed Xbox? True or false? Ken.
Who do you remember as the guy who saved Xbox? The guy who killed Xbox.
Cool. Ushers, killed or saved?
So Chris Rock has the joke about here's this that's old from one of his old specials about the uncle who put you through school but molested you. I think Phil Spencer has a lot of those shades of gray in terms of like dude, it's just his legacy is so complicated, dude, because he did so many good things for Xbox and sort of like, you know, met the Xbox gamers. As a gamer, I think he was an awesome CEO. But as a fan of Xbox, I think he totally decimated that brand. So his legacy is going to be very complicated to me. Like, so it's neither true or false. I think some people will remember it very fondly, especially all those people that cashed the millions, the people that heisted, that robbed Xbox of hundreds of millions of developer funds that never made it to the final product. Those people will definitely miss him. I think fans, yeah, that's going to be a very complicated situation for him.
Okay. I think Todd has to go soon, so we kind of speed this up a little bit. But Rachie says Elden Ring had its social darling moments, just like Senua 1, Expedition 2 won't have the same success. Do you know what's so crazy? Like Rachie, the statement is like it's good, but the fact that he said Senua 1, I'm like, that is true. Like when Hellblade came out, it really had this social moment where everyone like wanted to play it. But then I don't think that same hype was there for Hellblade 2 at all. I think everyone was kind of like, yeah, we're over this already. And so that's a really good point, Rachie. Todd, did you answer? Is Phil Spencer the savior or the killer?
I'd say savior more than killer.
Okay. Todd, Sarah Bond had to go. True or false?
True, because I think she knew the writing was on the wall anyway, so she's fine. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Ken?
Yeah, she had to go.
Ushers.
Yeah, she had to go.
Okay. Richie says Phil Spencer will be known as the guy who killed Xbox. All right. Richie, same question. Do you think Sarah Bond had to go? So next one. Matt Booty is the worst thing that ever happened to Xbox. Ushers, true or false?
The worst thing that ever happened to Xbox? Jeez. False. I don't think he's the worst thing that ever happened to Xbox, but he's the luckiest man. I don't know how that man does it. Like, the luckiest executive I've ever seen in any Fortune 500 business, period.
Okay, Todd.
Is it true or false? Is that what we're looking for?
Yeah. Worst thing ever happened to Xbox.
True.
True. Oh shit. Okay. Ken.
Yeah, I don't like the guy, so I'm going true. Even though it's I don't like the guy.
I mean,
wait, Ushers,
unless you say what's
false?
his name? What's the one guy that was like? Yes, it was Don Matrick. I mean, that you make it easier. But
He killed Xbox. He
Yes.
really killed Xbox.
Mm-hmm. I guess the point would be like Don Matrick, hurt Xbox, put in a weakened position, but Matt Booty killed it due to his lack of control. Maybe.
I just think Matt Booty's just there, dude. Like I just see him as the guy that just happens to be always in the frame.
He's
of
the yes
picture,
man
like,
that just gets to
doesn't do
survive.
Yeah.
much. Exactly. Like he's made no decisions. Like I don't see what is a Matt Booty decision.
We never know.
Do whatever Asha wants.
Do whatever Phil wants. Like
Do whatever-
whoever's in charge, just do whatever that person wants. Like
But when he did what Phil wanted, Phil got fired.
exactly. Hence I say he's the luckiest executive in the history. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how he does it. Like I'm sure he doesn't even know. He just like fuck.
Anyways, Richie says he doesn't like Sarah, so he thinks it's true she had to go. Next one, Richie, give us your Matt Booty one as well. Next one, in a hypothetical universe, Shuei Yoshida should have been the next PlayStation CEO over Sean Layden.
Yeah.
Todd.
Oof. I don't know if Shuhei wanted to run the business rather than run development. And so I think that's the problem. Sean Layden had both parts, so I would say no. Shu was great. Should have ran the development side of games for sure.
Ken?
Yeah, Shuhei wasn't. He doesn't want to be that in that expertise. He doesn't care about that expertise of the business.
Ushers?
Agreed with the other two gentlemen. Yeah.
Okay, all in agreement there. Next one. The N64 did more for gaming than the PlayStation 1. Ushers?
That's objectively false.
Todd?
False.
Ken?
False.
Rachie, give us your answers to that. Next one. Game streaming will double its user base, its consumer user base, within the next 10 years. True or false, Ken?
Ooh. With how things are going in the States with these data centers, I'm gonna go true.
Todd?
True.
Ashes?
Yeah, I suppose high possibility, so I'll go with true.
And how about this one? Gears of War E-Day as an Xbox exclusive is better is better for the ecosystem and to keep gamers happy than Halo Campaign Evolved being an exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem. Luscious?
Ooh.
You're gonna have to rephrase that question for me. Like,
Okay.
what?
So, in a hypothetical universe, only one game can be exclusive. Just not a franchise, just one game. Gears of War E-Day or Halo Campaign Evolved? Which one is better?
Yeah, of course, E-Day, any day, because E-Day at least is a new game. I mean, Reloaded to me is the same as Campaign Evolved. There's no difference. So that's not even a fair comparison. E-Day is definitely a quadruple A, proper, built from ground up game. So, whatever the positive there is, I agree with. Yeah.
Okay. Todd?
I agree exactly with your point. I mean, it's trying to compare a remake versus a remaster versus a new entry is always an easier sell. Or sorry, selling a new entry is easier than just going back to the well.
Ken?
Yeah, I agree.
Do you know why I thought it was interesting? Because this, to me, like you're right, from a gaming perspective, E-Day is far better because it's a new game and Halo isn't. But Halo is your mascot IP.
Yeah.
So it's sacrilegious. You might get away with Gears and Forza, but as soon as you do Halo, you've done something that maybe you can't walk back from, really. That's why I thought, okay, maybe there might be a bit of a question here. Do I have any more questions? I mean, anyone can bounce now because the other questions are not maybe as deep. It's just kind of more of thoughts I just threw on the page. So Todd, I think you're about to head off, yeah? So Todd,
thanks for everybody for having me on.
Yeah, tell us where we can find you and tell us what you're up to, video-wise coming up.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. This was great. For all I do, I don't talk a lot about video games, but all things nerds, fantasy football, things I love, movies, comic books, everything. Check out thefandomfoundry.com, and we have a YouTube channel. We have podcasting services around the web. So check out the stuff I do. And if you're interested in being on one of those shows, reach out to me. My DMs are open. Thanks all.
I appreciate you coming through, man. Have a good one.
Bye.
I'll throw a few more questions for you guys if you still want to stay around. How about this one? Samsung would be a good custodian if they purchased Xbox. True or false?
I have no opinions on Samsung, so it would make no difference to me. It would just, I don't know, Huh?
Samsung doesn't know about games.
Yeah, dude. Like I'm like, there's nothing there. Like there's absolutely nothing.
They got the hardware, but not the games.
But even then, it's like
Reggie says, Don Matrick was a visionary, just had the worst execution ever. I think Ashos, you've always kind of reiterated this point.
yeah. A lot of Phil Spencer's later ideas were just biting off what Don Matrick wanted to do originally.
Yep.
Anyway.
Reggie says the PlayStation brought a computer into the living room and accelerate technology. We're like, yep, that's true. When I'm happy with Xbox, I spend more. When I'm not happy, I spend less or pause my spending. Okay. Next question. Xbox will be profitable in 2027. Ashos?
Yeah, they'll definitely be profitable. People like Asha don't say stuff like that without knowing for a fact that she's done the projections and she knows exactly where the money's going to come from. So yes, definitely. I think that's a walk in the park. It's a layup for her.
Yeah. Ken?
Yeah, true. Yeah, true. We got some good stuff coming down.
Okay. All right. I think that's pretty much all the questions that I've jotted down. Did I have anyone that was more interesting? I did have one for a Forza kart, so I'll ask it if I let you guys go. Actually, I have two. First one, Nintendo should be Nintendo should be fearful of the PlayStation handheld. True or false? Ken?
PlayStation handheld. I would say yes, because they target Japan. Obviously, Japan loves Nintendo, but their second is Sony. They love PlayStation, and this is encroaching on their territory. So yes, I would say, because you're gonna be able to run more games on the PlayStation handheld.
Cautious.
False. I don't think like Nintendo is just surgical with that. With gaming in general, but like with handheld gaming, they don't even have a chance. Like no one has a chance.
Okay, that's a interesting one. And Reggie says yes because of backward compatibility. So I think Reggie's point is like, if you get a PlayStation handheld, you're gonna have default access to PlayStation's library, and that's gonna be a selling point. Yeah, I think that's a good take. Well, guys, I think that's it. Oh no, sorry. Yes, the last one. A Forza kart racing game full of Xbox IPs will sell more than Mario Kart if it comes out on Steam, and Xbox. Sorry, Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation.
False.
I also think that's false.
Really? Yeah, I mean, Mario Kart's like 40 million sold.
Yeah. It's got to be really good.
How many games sell 40 million across
really good.
3 platforms, and this is just one platform?
Yeah.
I do think there's a market there because, especially on PlayStation as well, because no one has a kart game. So I do think it could do well on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. But you could also make the argument that like everyone who wants a kart game is on Nintendo. It's on the Nintendo Switch. So
yeah,
they're actually looking for a kart game. They already have the ultimate kart game. Well, listen, guys, it was good chats. Thanks for coming through. I like the true or false questions. I think they're like,
me too.
I was jotting down all these points, and I was like, man, these points are boring. Like, let's go straight to true or false. Like, interesting. But listen, guys, thanks for coming through. Rachie, thanks for thanks for participating. Thanks for coming through as well. Ken Wall, Oshus, give us a quick summary of what you guys are up to in the future. Ken.
All right. Yeah. Well, I got I changed up my channel a little bit. I'm gonna I'm not gonna say this, but I'm doubling down on GTA content. Getting ready for GTA 6, and Monday you can catch a new video on my YouTube, Ken Wall, And then I live stream doing my GTA-thon where I got to beat every GTA before GTA 6 every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on TikTok and YouTube.
Cool. And Ushers, any plans? Anything interesting coming through?
So yeah, so like I am working on bringing the channel back, but this work is just keeping me busy right now. I started a new job a while back, and I moved into a new place, so that has kept me busy for the last couple of months. And I'm still in the process of just getting settled and just managing the new work schedule because I don't get as many work from home days. In fact, I don't get any work from home days anymore. So, yeah, we'll I'll keep you guys posted. I don't want to put out any false promises out there. I'll keep you guys posted. But I am definitely making an effort in the background to do some stuff on the channel. But I will definitely let you guys know either on this platform or any of our other friends.
Okay. Listen, again, thanks everyone for coming through and watching. And Richie, before I go, he says, no, he doesn't want a Forza kart racing game. He wants a Viva Pinata game. With other franchises transformed into, yeah, fair enough. I don't think that's going to happen, bro. Listen, thanks for coming through, guys. Talk to you next week. Ciao now.